Hello and welcome back to another episode of Horizon Zero Dawn. So last time we finished Eclipse challenge, and as bonus content I think we'll do the Chieftains challenge, but for now I want to get back to the main story. So I'm going to head to Meridian. Here we go. Okay. Well, you know, if I had full health, that would definitely help. So how about we do that before we go running into the end game? Okay. Just want a bit of medicine.
I'll tuck that away.
There we go. Okay, now we'll go to Meridian. Okay. Anyway, quests. Main quest, Looming Shadow, yes. Okay. However, the first thing to do before doing that is stocking up on materials.
Only the finest better ways.
Hey, dude. I want to buy... Wow, I have a lot of sparkers. Wow, I have a lot of wires. I probably don't actually need to buy anything if I'm being honest. Oh, oops. Okay, let's get a bunch of chill water actually. I'm very short on that. I have more than enough. Okay. So then... weapons... Of course. Let's sell them, since we can sell them. There we go. Okay, modify weapons. I wanna put all three of these damage coils onto here. There we go. And then this can be freeze again, at least for now. I'll definitely change this up at some point. Oh. Or wait, what am I thinking? I was thinking, oh, I need that 48. on the high damage. But no, I don't. Let's just stick stuff into these slots. Okay. Alright, well, we can always change our stuff at any time, so let's just head. I will not regret not stopping. I have so much resources. So much resources.
They're fighting machines, not pacing around here. Aloy, what brings you to Meridian?
A threat. Helis commands a legion of fanatics called the Eclipse. They will attack soon from the west, with an army of ancient war machines. But that's not the worst of it. They'll bring a mind with them, god, demon, machine, whatever you want to call it. It's called Hades. And it doesn't want Meridian at all. It wants the Spire. And if it gets there, it will send out a call, waking more ancient machines, more than we could ever defeat. All will be lost. We can't let that happen.
I'm trying to understand, but my responsibility lies with Meridian.
Meridian isn't the target, Avad. You have to defend the Spire.
Perhaps the Vanguard, Your Radiance.
Yes. Send them to the Spire. Aaron knows Aloy. He won't question it.
And have the City Guard fortify the Western Ridge. There they can be seen to protect Meridian and the Elite, where the Spire rests.
Aloy, allow me to apologize for my behavior before. After everything that happened with Ursa, I was confused. If we're to fight together on the brink of life and death, I'd prefer to do so with your forgiveness.
Then you have it. As long as you don't confuse me with her again.
Even a king can learn his lesson. Good then. I'm glad that's behind us. Now, it will take time to prepare our defenses. Please, tell me what you know of our enemies. Everything.
I don't know about everything, but I'll tell you what I can.
Okay.
Quietly does it. Panic in the city will only create another enemy. And do keep me appraised of each new arrival. Ah, Aloy. Preparations are underway on the ridge of defenses and at the Spire. Word was sent to every corner of the Sundom. Our allies offered their steel. Some came for Meridian, others for shards. But many came for you, by name.
For me.
Don't be so humble.
The ridge will be the front line. That's where the City Guard are holding?
Yes, bolstered by some of the irregulars I spoke of before. The Oseram cannons that thundered Meridian's walls in the Liberation will now defend us. You're welcome to tour the defenses.
And the Spire. Erend and the Vanguard are there?
Indeed. Clashing breastplates together and testing out their battle cries, I suppose. A number of the Nora have also arrived at the Spire. They have resisted the offer of a royal audience. Perhaps you could parley with them.
I will. I suppose all we can do is wait for the attack.
Exactly. It's not a feeling I cherish, but our spotters at Evening Sign report there's still no movement in the west. So, if there's more you need to do elsewhere, seize this time to do it. Otherwise, I've made the apartment of Olin Delverson available to you. You can sleep there, if sleep comes.
By the sun, an attack is coming! The battle begins.
Sobek Journal 7/16/65. Last time I visited Prime was November of last year. Months since have been a blur. Flew out last night to oversee installation of the central armature and the master override. You're welcome, Ted. Which was completed by 0430. So I decided to grab a few hours of sleep here before heading back to ZD. Called Gaia before I bedded down, ostensibly to update her on the site plan. But the truth is, I missed her. I've developed a habit of speaking to her before I sleep. Seems to be the only thing that calms me these days. Woke to a message from Oswald. The Odyssey launched yesterday, so terrestrial life's chance of survival has doubled. Why then do I feel so uneasy? I just keep wondering what kind of world Far Zenith will create if the ship reaches its destination so many decades from now. And I worry about that alpha build of Apollo. So much knowledge, so few restraints, and no fail-safes. How will they avoid repeating our mistakes? What's to stop them from playing God? Forwarded the Odyssey message to the Alphas. Naoto replied in less than a minute with a poem, of course, The Building of the Ship by Longfellow. And it's long, alright. I didn't read all of it, but it seems to be about launching a ship rather than building one. This stanza, or couplet, or whatever, leapt out at me. Humanity, with all its fears, with all its hopes of future years, is hanging breathless on thy fate. Yeah, Odyssey and Zero Dawn both. Speaking of which, I should get back to ZD. Guess I should stop by Naoto's lab and check on Demeter's progress too. If I can get out of there without a volume of Tennyson pressed into my hands, I'll count myself lucky. Till next time. Okay. Yeah.
Wherein won't fall. The sun set us here because we knew we'd be protected.
What?
Everyone needs a splash of color in their
Weird.
lives. Come, let's talk it over.
Oh wait.
I've heard an army marches on the gates. Is it true?
Another siege. Please, not again.
All these fancy decorations everywhere. It's downright embarrassing.
They'd never make it across the Great Bridge.
the ones you least expect that cause you trouble. It's not what I imagined when I was a boy, but...
I thought Sun King Abad was sitting on his hands, but he got the prince out with help from his spies.
Have you just polished that armor, Uvid?
Far
Of course.
cry from those days.
Isn't that a little...
What?
nothing?
Out with it, woman.
Forget I said anything. You look very dignified.
Thank you.
And shiny. Very shiny. Little Huntress, you called, so here I am.
Ready to fight?
Fight? I thought you just wanted tea and conversation. Is there a battle coming? I wasn't informed.
Well, that can't be true. You're always informed.
Ah, so I am. We've only met a few times, and yet you know me so well.
I don't think I know you at all. But I'd like to.
When I hear that line, it usually means something else. Can I tell you a secret?
Of course.
I've been waiting for this fight my whole life. The enemy we face today is the same that turned Meridian into a slave pit and Sunfall into a bloodbath. Fanatics who torture and murder mothers, fathers, families, children, and say it's the will of the sun. I hate them, Aloy. I've got the scars of their whips on my back to prove it. And today, we can get rid of them once and for all. I said I came for you, but that was only half the truth. I came for them. This time, they're not getting away.
I'm with you, Vanasha. We'll fight them together.
And I won't forget it, little Huntress. Tomorrow, may the sun rise in a better world.
Alana Khan Hadish, Sunhawk of the Hunter's Lodge. He does her house proud.
Aloy?
At ease, Uthid. Meridian will be glad to have you on its side. And I am too.
The honor is mine. You saved my epitaph from being a fine soldier, but a fool of a man.
I'm hoping you won't need any kind of epitaph just yet.
As the sun wills. When you found me, I was trying to eke out a glorious death. But now, a glorious life seems more preferable. To watch Edelman play in the low gardens again. Still surrounded by a dozen guards, but... what you did, Aloy, it was done well. Although, I can't shake this road, Vanasha. She delights in goading me. Like brazen colors waved before a behemoth.
Do you want me to ask her to stop?
No. I accept it. Well then. Meridian shall stand and shadow shall fall. I swear it.
Here's to that, Uthid.
She was incredible. Stopped Dervahl without breaking a sweat. I had no idea that Nora was that fierce.
Aloy, I told you I'd be here.
You did, Teb. But have your wounds even had time to heal?
Honestly, if I fought, I'd probably come undone. But don't worry, I'll leave that to the other Nora at the Spire. I brought supplies instead. These Karja have made me an honorary quartermaster, whatever that means.
It sounds impressive.
I could get used to it. We'll be setting up caches of arms and medicine under these banners. Look for them when the fighting starts. Aloy, when you went into the mountain, did the goddess tell you our chances?
She didn't need to. I know we can do this, Teb.
Maybe we can.
Had to take over my brother's shift today. Sure as the sun's rising, he's off courting that noble girl.
Okay. Just wrapped inspection of Gaia Prime site. Construction is well underway. Reactor installed. Plans for control room remind me of starship bridges on those cheesy old SF vids. Living spaces for alphas already completed, prefab modules. Fingers crossed we never have to seal ourselves in here, not that Elysium sounds much better. Spent last week on the Bryce site, designing ZD project labs, drawing up protocols. The base we're repurposing was huge, plenty of room for workspaces and residence blocks. The work crew's already set up my office/lab. I'm not a fan of the glass wall. I guess Murray's intention was to ensconce me as all-seeing presence. Opposite effect. Makes me feel watched, on display. Tempted to paint it over. Harris recorded his presentation yesterday, suitably bleak. Scheduled to record mine Friday. As soon as reception, lounge, holo theaters, and first residence blocks at ZD site are finished, we'll start processing the candidates being held outside of Tucson 27 already. Extraction teams prioritizing PACREM and Aussie candidates. How scared and confused they must be, snatched off the street, carted across the world, held in cells. Here's hoping they understand once they see the big picture. Going to catch a few hours sleep here, then fly back to the ZD site. Harris promised delivery of QB lattices by noon. Expect Mark 1 will take 2 weeks to machine assemble and test. I aim to launch Gaia at 0.6T grounding. From there, I'll spin her up past 1T. Wonder how long it'll take to break the 1.38T record. MIE can go hang, sleep.
Kampadish once again leads the Hunter's Lodge. I could not ask for a more noble house.
Okay. So... I know there's more people than just that.
Machines or bandits try to get past me, they'll have a fight. Mark my words.
Right, this way.
Prince needs him to escape Sunfall.
Petra!
Here she is, the guest of honor. I knew there was something about you. Hammered from the stuff they make leaders out of. And I don't say that to every Nora girl who blows through my town.
That happens to you a lot?
Had to build a wall to fend them off.
Good thing I'm persistent then.
I've missed our little talks. Murad asked me to look over the city arsenal. These guns have aged well. That runs in the Ostrom, no? They were the pride of the Mainspring Forges, so I've taken greater pride in improving them.
Can I try one?
Everybody wants a turn. Have at it then. The target should put up a little less of a fight than those bandit raiders did. It hits nice and wide. No need to aim it like a bow. Range is good. Try the next.
How many men do you think you'll kill in the battle, Luther?
Many as I have to. Cinnabar Sands is before.
I love it when you say things like that. It's so
I don't like to
What?
cheerful.
Geneva, they called you back to duty.
So, you're the one behind all this commotion? Who made Sun King Avad finally show his sword arm from behind those robes?
A king can be fierce and fair, Geneva. He's a good man.
A smart man, too. He had Murad offer all my prisoners a royal pardon if they'd fight for Meridian. The whole motley lot of them agreed. Didn't take much convincing.
With your kind of convincing, I don't doubt it.
Ha! This time I went easy on them. Those who commit the crime of attacking Meridian, they'll see less of my lenient side. May the sun blaze at your back, Aloy.
Nakoa, you came to fight.
How could I not? During the Red Raids, there was only one Karja butcher the Nora feared more than Zaid.
Helis.
I would stand against any army he leads, no matter how strong. For the Nora he terrorized, for myself, and for my father.
We'll stop him. You have my word.
Your word means a lot, especially now. Because of you, I hear the sacred land is opened. If we win, I can go home. It'll be good to see Jan again. I'm with you, Aloy. Until the end.
That's a nice spear, Uthed.
Thank you.
I like the way you grip it.
Enough, woman.
Is alive and in the palace. Praise the sun.
Elita, I'm pleased to see you, but what are you doing here?
I'm helping prepare for the battle. If Atral were here, we would have fought together. I know it. So I'm doing everything I can. Digging battlements, collecting herbs. Anything that makes a difference. I can't take his place. Nothing can take his place. But I'm here for him. For both of us.
I understand what it was he saw in you.
He'll always be with me. Sun and shadow still meet for a moment. Every dawn and dusk. I should give you this. To help in the battle. By the sun, I hope you don't need it.
Thank you, Alita. Be safe.
Evenman is no traitor. He's joined his brother.
Let's see, is there anyone else I'm missing?
I don't like a woman as head of the Hunter's Lodge, but at least she's noble Karja, unlike those savages.
Okay. Travis came by trick-or-treating, dressed up like me. Should have seen that coming. I gave him a half-eaten packet of dandy wafers as a treat and kicked him out, but not before he invited me to some kind of Italian horror extravaganza he organized for ZD staff. Seriously, as though there isn't enough horror in the world already. Anyway, I was already scheduled to fly out here to G Prime for final inspections with Harris and the President's delegation. Ted was here too, and he was not looking good, kept fidgeting, and couldn't seem to look me in the face without blinking. I was relieved when he boarded his vert and flew back to Thebes, gag. Though I guess I shouldn't complain. If he wants to build himself a deluxe shelter to ride out the apocalypse, let him. Keeps him out of Elysium and away from me. Harris stuck around long enough to give me a detailed briefing on the strategic situation. Basically, we've entered the terminal phase, as though the color of the sky when I was flying over here wasn't clue enough. Another 2 or 3 weeks, and the atmosphere won't be breathable. The last vestiges of European and West African civ brigades are trapped with their backs against the Atlantic. The swarm that scuttled across Antarctica is crossing the Straits of Magellan, about to start its death crawl up South America towards the Amazon. All the work we did to reconstitute the rainforest, and it comes to this. And advanced elements of the Pacific swarms are already skirmishing with units on the Kalmar seawall. The noose is tightening. Projections show we can still finish in time, but the margin of error is plus or minus 10 days. Not a good spread. If the plague breaks through ahead of schedule, well, it just can't. I will not let that happen. Enough writing. I need to get back to Zero Dawn.
Ouch. Aratak? I didn't expect you to come all this way.
It's true I am a stranger in this green and snowless land. Aurea forgave the Karja, but I never did. Still, I was compelled to come for my once chieftain. It's good to see you leading again. This young ice hunter seeks to prove herself also. Her spark reminds me of Aurea's in our youth. And I'm proud to take my place behind you on this hunt. A great challenge.
Survive and prevail, right?
There is no other way.
You're the hunter from the Banuk Grove.
I remember you also, Nora. The machines shook free of their slumber after you arrived. Raged and fought.
Well, that wasn't my fault.
No, I'm thanking you. That night, I decided I would not go back to Banur. I would take my hunt into these lands. So many machines, even demons. Spidery, skittering, without the blue light in them. Dead things that must be killed again.
Our enemies dug up an army of them.
An army? Yes, that's why I came. Good. I'll wait.
Talana, why are you here?
I'm your hawk. Where else would I be?
Defending Meridian with Avad?
I leave that to the rest of the Lodge. I will not stand aside while one of mine fights alone. Not again.
Are you sure you...
You're risking your life for all of us. You can't ask me to stand by and watch. Not when I have the power to change it.
Then I won't ask you.
It's settled. I will fight by your side. My only request...
Name it.
Leave the biggest machine for me.
No promises.
It rises taller than the highest tree.
These Karja in their frilled armor look like turkeys.
But there are so many. And now we are so few.
They are not our foe. Not this time.
Quiet now. She comes.
The Anointed.
War Chief Sona. War Chief, you seem uncomfortable.
The Nora do not belong here. I do not belong here. I will fight the metal devil that threatens us all, but my place is in the sacred land. The wrongness here jags at me like an arrowhead.
I'm sorry to put you through this.
Do not be sorry. This will be ended. My spear, my word.
Greetings, Aloy. Don't. You don't need to bow. The Anointed doesn't like it.
She doesn't much like being called Anointed, either. It means a lot to have you here, Varl.
I gave my word.
So, Meridian, what do you think?
I've seen many new things since I first met you. I should thank you.
Varl, what's wrong?
You really want to know? All right. I'm in a foreign land, a tainted land, defending a faithless city that looks like nothing I've seen. From something I can't imagine. And you, after all that's happened, all you've done, I feel like I should drop to my knees and worship you, but I know you don't want that.
Boy, things are pretty tough for you, huh? Thanks for telling the other Nora not to bow. It's the last thing I need.
Don't be too hard on them. They only joined this fight because the Anointed bid it so.
Is that why you came?
No. I would have come just to see you one more time. And we must fight a metal devil, because the goddess says. Or because you say.
I think the goddess and I are in agreement. We're both glad you're here.
So am I.
So who are these guys?
They call themselves the Eclipse.
What does that even mean?
It's when the moon gets in front of the sun, idiot.
Is that supposed to sound scary or something?
I don't know. They used to be Karja. Karja are always yammering about sun and shade.
Well, if they used to be Karja, how tough can they be?
Yeah, they're best guys dressed like birds. We'll rip their little feathers off.
Let's not get cocky, boys. Aloy. So here we are again, gearing up for a fight. Only this time it sounds like the bad guys have a lot more firepower. What are we up against, really?
I'm not sure. But there's gonna be a lot of them, and they'll have machines. And if they get past us, it's not just Meridian that will fall. The rest of the world will go with it.
That's big. It sounds like our kind of fight. Right, guys? Well, where do they put the Vanguard?
At the front of the line!
And why?
Steel before iron!
And what are we gonna do?
Hit them like a hammer till they can't hit back!
Damn right! You hear that? Nobody's getting past the Vanguard. We're here for Meridian. And we're here for you.
Thank you, Erend. Ursa would be proud.
Only if we win.
Okay, rest before the final battle. Well, there's no sign of them in the west yet, so real quick. There's one more thing to do.
It's not home anymore. Not without Rost. There's nothing for me here anymore.
Such a close thing. It's been, what, 43 hours since Harris warned me? Said collapse of the eastern line was imminent. Swarms launching some kind of pincer maneuver versus the Wichita salient. 5 or 6 more days, and I think Gaia could have launched without our help. I really do. We had to scramble. ZD became a madhouse. Absolute bedlam. Every team rushing to stabilize code and lock it down as gammas got evacuated, then betas. Once Gaia was on her way, I gathered the alphas together to give them the bad news. Felt like I was going to throw up, but they already knew, of course. They knew the work wasn't really finished. Close, but not quite there. Still tests to run, kinks to smooth, work to do. So they accepted it. No Elysium for us. We'll spend the rest of our lives here, testing and polishing each subordinate function to perfection. Guess that's what you get when you recruit a bunch of obsessive perfectionists. Managed not to cry until I got back to my office. So here we are, setting up Gaia Prime, and yeah, such a close thing makes me feel nauseated all over again when I contemplate how the fate of life could hinge on coincidence. If I'd never proposed the Lightkeeper Protocol, there never would have been living spaces constructed here. If I'd abandoned the protocol sooner, the necessary life support systems never would have been installed. If. At least we won't have to endure the creepiness of raising and training clones of ourselves. The genetic material was never processed out of the cradle sites, so it's not even possible. For which I'm glad. I really wouldn't want to spend time around a young Travis Tate raised by Travis Tate. No, it'll be up to us to perfect Gaia. One generation only. Update. That was General Harris. The salient has collapsed. USRC expects to be overrun in 2 days, which gives us 72 hours at best to lock down and seal up. Buried alive, for life's sake. I'll go tell the others.
It's heavy. World's going white. Hi, Rost. I'll just take this off. Don't want him listening in. Rost, I can't believe it's taken me so long to visit you. When you said goodbye, I told you I'd find you. Track you down. Well, looks like you did it after all. Went somewhere I can't follow. I should have known you'd be watching. At the proving. Looking out for me. There for me when no one else was. Like always. One last time. So, I went inside the mountain. Do you remember the night before the proving? The final lesson you taught me? You said I needed to serve a purpose bigger than myself. Well, it couldn't get much bigger. It's the same purpose that drove Elizabeth and Gaia when they were willing to die for. So yeah, I'll do it. Give myself to that for Elizabeth and Gaia and for you. I've got what I need to destroy Hades. The Master Override. Now all I have to do is drive it into Hades' skull, so no problem there. The final battle will be fought at Meridian. Hades will come for the Spire, and I'll be ready. I found out how Elizabeth died. She sacrificed herself, as you might expect. Said something about going home. I wonder where that was for her. If I ever find out, I'd like to go there. See it myself. Assuming I actually survived the battle at Meridian, of course. Which, let's face it, is... well... who knows? I won't be fighting alone when the battle comes. I warned Avad, the Karja's Sun King. I wonder what you'd make of him. Anyway, he pledged support. And Erend, He's gonna defend the spire with a detachment of Vanguard. That's not all. A group of Nora made the journey. Seekers. All the way to Meridian. Varl, Sona, Teb, others. A whole little war party. Imagine. The Nora fighting for something beyond the sacred land. For a purpose greater than themselves. Well, I'll try to come back if I can, but I guess this might be it. Thank you, Rost. Thank you for everything.
Awesome. Okay, well, time to rest before the final battle.
Boland's apartment feels empty. Should I sleep? Did I leave anything unfinished?
All right, well, that's going to have to do it for today. When we come back next time, we will finish the main story. So, but anyway, until next time, see ya, and bye.